Okay, it looks like we are back here, guys. I'm sorry for all of the upsets and confusion, but tonight's show will reveal the truth of the roots with Trap and RuSA, how they both came about, how they were both based on lies, manipulation, and personal agenda. None but those involved could have known the origins of current beliefs as to how things really evolved until now. It's taken over a year to compile documents, recordings, and testimony for my guests to finally get to the truth. Many within RuSA now are in grave danger of being held accountable for crimes that they are not only not guilty of, but are not even aware of. They will be held accountable simply by reason of their affiliation. That's really sad. You're going to hear sound clips, as many as what we're able to play, given the technical difficulties we have had. We have lost a little over an hour. But these are going to be sound clips from early recordings that these guys aren't even aware or still exist. And I want to thank those who came forward with these old files, but we will not identify who those persons were that brought these files forward. With that, I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest, Terry, on. Terry, welcome.
Okay, finally. I would like to say that some of the gentlemen that you will hear speaking tonight on these sound clips that I'm going to share, I do not know personally. I've never met them or spoken to them. I think that it's possible that in the beginning some of them really meant to do a good thing, and even though they were lying, those lies may have been well-intentioned, although I don't condone that. It is possible. However, the lies that came forward from RAP specifically and RuSA specifically were not innocent lies. Many listeners, like myself, were around in the early days of Trap before RuSA began, so we know, because we were there, how things were said to have evolved. The claims that were made, which have never come to fruition or indeed even proven to have any substance whatsoever. We know again, because we were there, the story that was told to explain how Trap became RuSA and Turner its so-called president. What we didn't know is how exactly Trap got to be Trap and how Trap was forcefully taken over by Turner. Tonight, you will hear that story. Before I begin sharing how it all came about, I'd like to refresh the memories of those who were back there. Then, as to the claims we all heard time and time again from the mouth of James Timothy Turner.
Alleged name.
Yes, alias. As I go through the story, keep these claims in mind. Number one, the funders have required that we form a national interim government. Number two, the funders have required that I be trustee of the money, meaning Turner. Number three, the funders have required that I be president. I don't want to, but they insist. God has sent me to restore the republic. He's still claiming that, of course. Number four, we have 3.5 megatons of gold. We are in the process of moving it so we can access the funds. This has been repeated too many times to count. 5, we have military support. 6, we have the backing of over 80 other countries. 7, Tom Schultz made a deal with the Queen. Regan Reedy left for no reason. Who knows why Sam Kennedy left, and so on. 8, the de facto is ready. In fact, Obama is ready to turn over the reins of government. That was a year ago. 9, the Chinese are going to invade. Your children and your grandchildren will die if we don't get this done. This in particular was said forcefully the night the Utah event was announced, and many other times after that. The funding will be in this number 10. The funding will be available in 2 to 3 weeks. 2 years equals the longest 2 or 3 weeks in history. Those are just a few of the claims made in order to recruit the masses, and I want you to remember them as I share the truth of what happened. By January of 2010, there were dozens of patriot philosophy groups and organizations across the nation, everything from Continental Congress 2009 to Get Out of Our House, and many smaller groups attempting to bring forth various remedies based on philosophy and varied interpretations of our founding documents. Among those were a group in Washington State involving Kelly Russell Sullivan, James David Boise, and others putting county assemblies together, another in Illinois with an assembly ostensibly led by Mike DeCossola, and another organization which popped up called the Restore America Plan, or TRAP. At that time, Tim Turner was involved with the Sullivan Group out of Washington, but Mr. Turner was up to no good, as you will see as the story unfolds. On January 25th, 2010, there was a phone call which took place between Tim Turner, Kelly Sullivan, and Sam Kennedy. Deatra, would you play clip number 1, please?
Got it.
Anybody on the call yet?
Hey, Tim, Kelly here.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, buddy. Sam's supposed to be on here in a minute there.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Tim, bring me up. What's the big push? What's going on?
What's happened is we got a situation where we need to join forces here.
Okay.
Sam, his group, have done a declaration, and they're getting ready to present. They're getting ready to do the same thing we were doing. And he, I'll let him tell you all the details about it. There's not a lot more about it than I do, but his declaration that they're doing was directed by the military and the Supreme Court. Exactly what they were supposed to do, the steps. And he called me the other day and talked to me, and I told him we were doing the same thing, and I told him I wanted to talk to you and see if we couldn't join forces because we need to unite.
Yep.
And so that's what they're up to. But he said that they've got the pledge of the military and Supreme Court to come on board if we do.
He says directed by the military and the Supreme Court. Is he talking about something with Eric Mattson?
No, it's not.
Notice it's Turner's idea to join with Kennedy, Tom Schultz, and Regan Reedy. Mr. Sullivan at this point knew nothing of this plan. After Kennedy joins the call, Kelly goes off on the ever-familiar patriot philosophy about counties and juries and ground-up remedy we've all heard ad nauseum over the past few years. Don't get me wrong here. I'm fully aware of how our republic is supposed to work and equally aware that it does not and has not worked that way for over 200 years. So let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. Anyway, Kelly claims to have already seated enough people in counties around the country to take the country back. He then claims to have letters from the Supreme Court instructing them what to do.
Sound clip number 2 coming up.
And our delegate, Republican informant style, will be convening this following weekend on Colorado and doing that very thing. We've also had letters from the Supreme Court telling us that we need to restore civil government.
He goes on with more rhetoric until Kennedy asks how many people he has all together, and Kelly avoids the questions.
Sound clip 3 coming up.
How, you say you're convening in Colorado?
On Colorado.
And when do you expect that to be?
This weekend.
How many people do you have coming together?
We are going to bring all the, it'll be the lower state, delegates from the lower state, all 48.
So one delegate per state?
It'll be several.
How large is the assembly?
So what?
How large are the assemblies?
An assembly on a county requires 25 men and women. Then that assembly on the county brings forward its judicial district, their judicial area, in fact. Now, just to kind of give you a flavor for what we've done, Sam, is we've already issued and upheld certain criminal and civil matters in the de facto, and they're honoring the decrees that come forward from the Assembly. So once we get done, we will have the authority from the man and woman on the county to come forward and do all sorts of amazing things. And that is what we're intending to do. I have not had a chance to talk to Tim about that. That's one thing why it's so urgent. Tim and I have a face-to-face on Colorado this Friday, is to lay out some of the stuff that's already been accomplished through this process.
He never does answer the straightforward question Kennedy asks. Here we are today, and it's 2 years later after Turner not only claimed all 50 states have had the required amount of people in each state to have accomplished everything this call is about. Are we missing something? Has our government stepped aside and allowed us to self-govern while we slept through it all? Now Kelly claims to have been using decrees to get people out of jail, and Kennedy attempts to trump that card with military intervention.
And most of those states have dropped out, so he no longer has 50.
Oh yeah.
Did I hear you to say that you've been issuing decrees and people have been presenting themselves to the assemblies upon order?
Our decrees are going to the de facto and getting remedy.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, we have taken people out of jail. We are coming forward very soon. We've had decrees honored for civil judgment because the other party decided not to show up to the judicial hearing on the county. And the judge is looking at bar members and saying, "You idiot! You got it. You defaulted. You ignored it. You're screwed." We've had people walk out of jail because when the judge, the county ranger, and the scribe from the assembly appear to the de facto judge and say, "You can't hold this man. He's on the county," they say, "You're right," and let him go.
How often have you done that?
We've been doing this for months now. Now, Tim got certain directives from the military and the Supreme Court to take certain actions. What exactly do you have from them?
Well, we've been in negotiation with them for over a year, and they made an offer to us. If we fulfilled 4 certain criteria, that they would follow our orders. And we're at the point of, I'm sorry, I'm getting a great deal of feedback. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it's very hard to talk.
I can hear you just fine, Sam. Go ahead.
Okay, the thing is, I'm getting feedback back such that it's obliterating my ability to talk. You know when you have that kind of feedback?
I do. Do you want to just hang up and you can call right back in?
Why don't I try that? I'll call right back.
You heard this man claim to have gotten people out of jail with decrees for months. To date, I know of not one person anywhere on this continent who's been freed from jail by any of these people. I do know of many in RuSA who were promised over and over and over again to be given pardons, to have their loved ones released, to save their children from the prison industry judges, but not one word of promise has ever come to fruition. What you've heard in these clips are 2 bulls in full rut, 2 monumental male egos with the same scam plan fighting for position of leadership. So far, the sparring is fairly civil. While waiting for Kennedy to rejoin the call, Turner chats with Kelly.
Yeah, according, he was telling you a little bit about it, but from best I understand, and I didn't get a whole lot of detail into it, but they were told they had to take 4 steps, and then we would have full support of the military and Supreme Court. And boy, we desperately need that.
We do. And do you know what those 4 steps are?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, I wanted him to communicate directly with you. I don't know what they are, and I don't know enough about it to tell you. So he would have to do that.
Kennedy returns and puts Kelly on the spot.